What's going on? This preacher. So, I knew the dealership would find something, and they did. They did. They did. They did. And when I told them, they did exactly what I told them. Okay, they did exactly what I told them. So I'm not mad at them because they did do exactly what I told them. There's some problems I was having on and off, but not all the time. So they found that two of my injectors would come on and off. It wasn't stable. So because it wasn't stable, it was like, well, they're just going to go ahead and replace those injectors because they're not working properly. And then they asked me, well, how long it's been doing it? And I told them, well, it has been doing it every once in a while, but I didn't have no check engine lights on. But even though I ain't had no check engine lights on, I felt it and I heard it, and it just seemed like it will run kind of funny, especially in cold weather. So I didn't know if the weather had something to do with it because I was putting that anti-gel in it, because it was only doing it when I was driving in the snow that it only was doing it. So when I'm not in the snow, it'll drive fine. But when I'm up in that cold weather, like when I was up in like negative 17 degrees up in New York, it was doing it then. So they checked it all out and they found that two of the injectors wasn't working properly, so they're gonna change out the injectors on it. And my bunk heater, I'm getting a new bunk heater. They said that it just wasn't something electronically wrong with it, and they just rather just replace it because it's not responding correctly, which I told them that. So I wound up being in the hotel for another day. Now, this is why I always try to tell people, listen, we can't sit here and be like, hey, well, I'm going to get a new truck and I ain't going to have no problems. Yes, you're going to have problems. You're going to have problems. Do you got to pay for those problems? No. But you got to pay for the days you are missing. So now this is 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. I knew I was going to lose Monday, but I figured I was going to be on the road today, right? So, but now this is the second day. I ain't making no money. Now, I ain't making no money, but that truck payment is still going to be coming out. See what I'm saying? So, with Karen, my other white truck, or my cash truck, you want to call it, I don't have to worry about the payment coming out. I still lose the money for it being down, but I don't lose extra money for as the truck payment comes. I don't have to worry about the truck payment. So, it's one of those type of things. So I always try to tell people, okay, you getting out here, yeah, but when you getting out here, realize if you have a truck payment, that payment still gonna need to be made, whether you run it or you're not running. The payment is still gonna need to be made. So you buy a cash truck, you got that, and they said, well, I had this truck since October. When I had this truck, and I haven't had any problems. Now the truck still was running. It just was time to get it serviced. Number one, and the little issues that I was hearing. And then they were saying that, you know, they thought everything was all right, but when they letting it run and run up under the computer for 30 minutes, that's when it had spit out all that information. And I was like, well, yep, that's the thing right there. You know, if you just look at it and you just run through it real fast, you're not going to find any problems. But when I asked them, I said, man, let it run with the computer for like 30 minutes on high idle. And then if there's a problem, which I think it might be, it should show up. And then they did it. Now I have to pay 1 hour of diagnosis because they had to let it run for like 30 minutes or whatever to try to diagnose the problem. And it's like, well, you know, you're going to have to pay that out of pocket. That's not going to be covered under warranty and stuff. So I was like, well, you know, hey, charge me for the hour because I'd rather just pay the $185 and for them to do some extra stuff to make sure that this here truck, you know, it's good to go. So that was my thing. I want to make sure that this truck is good to go. And if it's not good to go, I need to get it to be good to go. You know, so that was my whole thing about the situation. So one more day. They told me they had the injectors today. They had got the injectors about 3 o'clock today. So since they didn't got the injectors about 3 o'clock today, and they then fixed everything else, they just got to throw the injectors in and make sure that it's running and everything is reading properly tomorrow. So I was like, well, okay, well that's fine. I can go ahead and do that. It's not a real biggie. So, all right, man. Truck update. Talk to y'all later.